Whammy bars will forever now be known as wiggle sticks.
Sounds like a good idea to me. Nobody can afford to fucking buy anything else. And I'm not subscribing. Oh, what's that? Morning, everybody. How's it going? Okay, I can't take credit for the whole wiggle stick thing. That I first heard that from Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum. Go check out his channel. He does a lot of surf rock stuff. Great guy, great player, a lot of fun to hang out with. And he coined that phrase, I think, on the island last year. And I thought, okay, that's kind of cool. So instead of tremolo, vibrato, whatever, let's just fucking call it a wiggle stick, and then everybody will be happy. Yeah, right. Like that's ever gonna happen. Anyway, hey guys, I woke up this morning and thought, hey, I was having coffee here. I got my Ortega Guitars mug and sitting back, and I watched Tom Scott's video about it. He's saying he's been doing this for 10 years and he needs a break. And I watched this video and fuck's sakes, has he ever done a lot of amazing stuff. And the whole thing really got me thinking where I'm going with this channel. I've got a bunch of stuff planned this year, that's for sure. Going to be going all over the world to go check out music gear and people who play music and that kind of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here's the thing. I've been on YouTube for about 10 years, maybe a little bit longer now. I think my first couple of videos, I was doing them very sporadically. Those were in 2012, 2013. I got serious in the summer of 2014. I literally got fired off of a movie crew. There was an indie film I was working on. I was director of photography, and I got fired because I don't work with idiots, and the director was a first-class idiot who just loved to waste people's time, couldn't take charge, and couldn't get shit done. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, she didn't like the fact that I said pretty much stop wasting people's time and get your fucking shit together. Anyway, so she fired me off that movie, and I'm like, okay, watch what I do next. Called my buddy. I'm like, hey, let me borrow your Axe Effects. I want to shoot out against a couple of real amps and see what happens. So that was summer of 2014, and here we are, almost 10 years later. And tomorrow I've got my first Neve console arriving. Oh, what's that? Oh yeah, taking a big step this year. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. That video is going to be coming out real soon. Keep your eyes peeled for that. But it's like I got to get a bunch of stuff done because I got to get all this stuff cleared out of here and make some room for that. And there's going to be an install video, and I'm very nervous about that. It's like a 600-pound crate we gotta get off the truck and then get the thing in here. It's gonna be interesting, to say the least. Hopefully it's gonna go a little smoother than the console install we did in Hollywood there back in 2019. That was a full-sized audio console. That thing was gigantic. It was one of the roughest days I've ever had. The one coming in for this is a little smaller, a little bit easier to manage, and it's super cool. You guys are going to see a lot of content featuring on that real soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, so where am I going with all this? Here's the thing. I don't think I'm going to be slowing down so much anytime soon. I mean, I see a lot of creators complain that they get burned out, and that's easy to understand because they're usually a lot younger than me and haven't done 30 years with the most mind-numbing, soul-destroying job ever, and that's assembly line work. And I've done that I did that for almost 27 years, and believe me, my mind wandered a lot, and I came up with a lot of really cool ideas. And I'm just YouTube has allowed me to run wild with that and do all these crazy experiments and stuff like that. And there's still so much more I want to learn as I go along. So we're going to be taking a look at some more guitar myths, some more recording myths, and putting those to the test and taking measurements and generally just pissing people off who make a lot of money off of things that may or may not have a lot of truth to them. It's going to be a lot of fun. Buckle your seatbelts. It's going to get interesting. So as I'm sitting here doing these, I'm contemplating, should I really scramble to get a guitar review done so you guys have some filler content on Wednesday to watch, or do I really take my time with it and make the best video I possibly can? I mean, like, it's obvious you guys want the entertaining videos. That S by Solar video is like pushing 250,000 views or something insane right now in the last couple of weeks, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down, which is awesome, and I'm ever so grateful for that. And everybody who hit the subscribe button based on the last few videos, hey, welcome aboard. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you coming on board. The other thing I'm sitting here thinking is, okay, I've been doing viewers comments for almost 10 years. It's like, it's the same format, and It's not the most engaging stuff. I mean, like, I'm sure it's great if you see your comment being read and stuff like that. I'm more than happy to do that. But I'm just wondering if there's some way how I can step it up and make it a little bit more interesting. And I'm trying to figure that out right now. And of course, I'm always down for suggestions. So if there's something you guys want to see in viewers' comments, or say, hey, you know what, maybe you should try this, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you, see what you've got to say. I don't want to stop doing it, but I definitely want to do it better. Anyway, speaking of that, let's get to your comments and questions right now.
Glad your videos are becoming Harley Benton sales pitches. Just saying.
Well, hey there, Heavy Metal 6910. Thanks so very much for writing in about your observations on my Harley Benton stuff. The thing is, though, as somebody who did work on an assembly line for 30 years, I know how hard people work for what little money they get. So I am trying to find them the best value I can for their money. And that's not necessarily Harley Benton. A lot of the Harley Benton stuff is fantastic, like their cabinets. You're not going to find a better deal anywhere on guitar cabs. Those vertical 2x12s are very hard to beat. If somebody can come up with similar price to performance, I'm interested. That's for sure. But that has yet to materialize. So that's why we keep seeing a lot of Harley Benton on the show. The Goto series guitars were fucking brilliant. I love that SG. That's one of my absolute favorite guitars. Only $269. Can't go wrong with that. However, their active series definitely screwed the pooch. That's for sure. It's not all about Harley Benton. The S-By Solar series, fucking fantastic guitar for the money, and congratulations to the lucky bastard who won that. I need to get that to the post office tomorrow at some point. I've got a very cool guitar just sitting off camera here, and it's in a super affordable Spectre, and we're going to be taking a look at what Spectre can do on their more affordable lineup. It should be very cool indeed. I am all about best price to performance. That's why I did 3 or 4 videos with that 6505 Plus combo that we turned into a head, and then we could pair it up with a whole bunch of different things. Fucking you won't find a better deal on a tube amp. So it's not necessarily pushing Harley Benton, it's just Harley Benton makes a lot of super affordable gear that also happens to be amazing. It's a great time to be a guitar player because you don't have to be rich to get great sound.
I worked in manufacturing here in the USA for years before the pandemic happened. I went full-time with my podcast and music PR business. Never been happier, by the way. Similar to your story. One of the things I remember, besides working 6 to 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, was the fact that everybody was pissed off and nobody was paying attention to anything. The amount of shit that went flying out the door on a constant basis was enough to make me paranoid about anything built in the USA. They always seemed to put the new hires with the lowest pay at the end of the line in the quality control section because it was the job nobody wanted. Do you think that those people coming in the door at base pay rate, working 7 days a week, really give a shit about the welds they're supposed to be checking? Point is if this happens in an auto factory, you can imagine it also happens in other factories like a guitar factory. I don't know. I've never worked in a guitar factory. I'm not saying I would ever buy a USA guitar, but...
Well, it's like I said, it's my observation with the Mustaine V. It looked like whoever was doing the inspection on there wasn't getting paid enough to give a fuck. And that seems to be the big problem, especially with the cost of living these days. It's like, why should people put their best effort forward when they're just getting the scraps? Look, I get it. The people in charge need boats, they need Rolls Royces and Ferraris and super expensive houses. It's a very, very important thing that makes sure those people get those luxury items for being the boss, because they certainly earned it now, didn't they? But the people who actually do the work are getting completely fucked over, especially young people these days when it comes to being able to afford to live. I mean, I saw somebody gloating on Reddit the other day about, when somebody said to him, okay, boomer, he turned around and said, okay, renter. And that shut the kid up. But it's like, that's a fucking horrible observation because it's so fucking true. What kid's going to be able to afford a fucking house? You guys wonder why I push all the bargain gear? Because nobody can afford to fucking buy anything else. Because everybody, the younger generation has just been completely fucked over by the older generation. Quality guitars made in the USA. Maybe not so much anymore because maybe everybody's a little too worried about being able to afford rent rather than the paint on a fucking guitar. Maybe they've got better priorities.
Well, I've landed the chance to mix my first EP for a local metal band, and let me tell you, if anybody thinks your horror stories about recording local bands are BS, I'm going to punch them in the face.
Here's the thing. It's not just the local bands.
Hey, Glenn, you stated in earlier videos that when you were starting out that you'd read recording magazines like EQ. I'm wondering if there are any books that helped you where you first started out and what you'd recommend to us. Thanks in advance.
Not so much. Actually, the biggest help to me of all was probably the Andy Sneap forum, which is still up and running, some 20 years later. There's a couple threads I started back in the day about, the Clayman sound and how to record heavy drums. Those are still in there. There's some real epic threads in there. I'm not so sure if a lot of the example files still exist because online storage tends to change over the years. But yeah, if you want to go for a deep dive, check out a few of the big threads that were pinned in the Andy Sneap forum. There's a goldmine of information in there. Hey guys, real quick, no big push here or anything like that. Just remember the way I sustain this show is through my company, Spectre Digital, and we make awesome plugins like Element Bass. If you're looking to up your heavy guitar game, you need a great bass tone, and the way to get that is with Element Bass, as evidenced by all these comments right here. It's not bullshit, it sounds amazing. Check this out. You can check that over at spectredigital.com. Now let's go check out the Butthurt of the Week.
Glenn really let himself go with this one. I heard Amsam with more balls than this thing. 10 out of 10 horrendous. Also unsubscribing.
Well, that's a great thing about guitar sound. We're allowed to have a difference of opinion. Personally, I'm bored with the whole Vintage 30 thing, but, if you want to do the Vintage 30 thing, hats off to you. Go for it. I'm sure you'll stand out from the crowd. Oh, yeah, that was on the Guitar Rig review. That's kind of interesting because I really mixed up the tones on that one. I thought it was pretty damn cool what it could pull off, especially like the fuzz tones and the stoner rock. But I get it. That's not, the standard 5150 Vintage 30 sound, and we're not allowed to think differently than anybody else in metal these days. That's a big no-no. How dare we go and find our own thing? That's the thing. Metal music's supposed to be a variety of opinions. That's the thing. If you didn't find any value in it, that's fine. But to run away, oh, you said something I don't like, and I'm not subscribing. That's just fucking ridiculous. How about grow a pair?
Scientific. Another genius with a worthless test. And any guitar player who rolls tubes will know otherwise.
Yes, you mean all the guitar players who roll the tubes, change the amp settings, and play the guitar differently during their tests. That's definitely a way to localize one thing and test an issue.
If this guy had any real credibility, I think it's lost now. We realize who is not the authority when it comes to vacuum tubes.
Never once have I claimed to be an authority on vacuum tubes. The only thing I've done is make a test and put it up for public consumption. Where's yours?
You are simply wrong about tubes, and I can prove it 1,000 different ways. Anytime you want, I'm ready.
Okay, full clip audio, fantastic. Do me a favor, go buy a reamp box and run the same clip through your amp with no changes on anything. No mic position changes, no cabinet changes, no amp changes. Just change the tubes and use a reamp box. Because when you run the same performance through your amp with different tubes, suddenly those massive differences in tone that you're hearing become that big. For verification on that, go get yourself one of these. This is a reamp box. This one's done by Signaler. It's the best there is. All you gotta do is try that. But we all know that'll never happen.
Lol, pickups really don't matter. You're absolutely right, Glenn. I just upgraded my Harley Benton 8-string from the cheap, no-name Chinese pickups that were in it to some Fishman-influenced signatures. I pre-recorded a song using the old pickups. After installing the new pickups, I recorded another track on the same song. Same setting, same everything. The high gain tone was absolutely the same. Sure, the Fishman pickups were nice and quiet, and the clarity was definitely improved, but tone, not at all. At least not by my ear. The signal was also much stronger, but no real tonal difference. Now, I figured this is going into this since I was watching your videos, and I really just wanted the new pickups for the clean tones. There was a huge difference with the cleans, but I'm not sure it was a $300 difference.
Yeah, the funny thing about recording with gain is almost like distortion distorts the signal or something like that. Here's the thing. If your pickups are feeding back, if they're vibrating, you stop playing, you got your amp cranked up, and they're going, woo! Then it's time for new pickups. But if you think you're going to get some kind of sonic advantage because of new pickups, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work like that.
I bet I could make an actually good song with a 9-string guitar.
Okay, go get one and blow us away. We're all eagerly anticipating that one.
The further I get in music, the more I come to the conclusion that the whole magic thing is a refusal to recognize skills and ideas you picked up along the way. If anything, thinking it's some magic thing has the potential to really hold you back from really digging into a song when you're stuck on it. If you actually engage with your process and skills, then you can actually create magic.
I'm going to quote Tim Minchin here. He had a great point in the song Storm, which was like this 9-minute beat poem. Really cool. If you have the time, I'd highly recommend checking it out. But he had a great point, and that was, every mystery ever solved has been proven to be one thing: not magic.
Okay, so tubes don't really do all that great for guitar amplifiers, but they do all that great for bringing out your final mix. So really the difference in how tubes affect your mix is where the signal chain you put the tube at, if I'm getting this correctly?
No, TechnoX, maybe I didn't explain myself clearly on that. TechnoX, he's a regular contributor on the Monday Mix Reviews. He does some really cool stuff. Hell of a creator, that's for sure. The guy who writes some interesting songs. Here's the thing, let me clarify this. I've never said that tubes don't matter. Tubes don't matter in the context of changing them out, from brand to brand to brand. Oh, I've got this vintage new old stock tube that's, made from fucking golden urine from the god Thor or something. It's just fucking stupid. Tubes versus solid state do have a different sound because of the way how they round the signal off. That's all there is to it. So if you go from a solid state guitar amp to a tube amp, yes, you're going to get a change. That's why a Sun Beta lead sounds very different from, say, a Mesa dual rectifier. But if you go dual rectifier to 5150 to Soldano, they're kind of in the same family and are all variations on a theme. So when it comes to EQs, I like hardware EQs and I really like Pultecs because the way how they round off the sound and can work really great in your mix. But I did a test years ago, back in 2020 during the pandemic, where I got one of those Clark Technic tube EQs and I upgraded the tubes. I swapped out, the ones that came with it for some high-end premium ones. And then I did some null tests and guess what? They canceled out. There's a slight change in amplitude, but as soon as you match gain, guess what? Signal went bye-bye. And that's when I realized that changing your tubes out really only shifts amplitude, and that's about it. And then that's where I got the idea. Let's try this out in guitar amps and see what happens. And lo and behold, even on a 59 Fender Pro, changing your tubes doesn't do anything magical. Big shock. Remember what Tim Minchin said. So bottom line with this is tubes definitely have their place, but the tubes we make in the modern age are absolutely fine for the application.
Not your cup of tea, I know, but Pat Metheny has been known to write the odd good tune. He's also a renowned workaholic. Do you think the two might be related?
Yeah, I suppose it's possible.
Not sure how that magic worked, but MySpace seemed to get everybody involved in their local music scene. Everyone was suddenly excited about local music, and they were turning up at shows in huge numbers. It was marvelous.
Well, we're a visual species, and the great thing about MySpace versus Facebook is you could customize your page and make it look different to stand out from everyone else. Whereas Facebook came along and everybody shifted to that and everybody's page looks the same. And then they started burying the music feed and now you have to go dig into it and that kind of stuff. So I think Facebook was a big factor in killing the whole MySpace music scene. And until somebody comes up with a better Facebook and everybody shifts to that, I don't think we're going to see a change anytime soon. But yeah, I think MySpace did have a big deciding factor in what was going on. That whole, 2006 to 2008 era was just fucking outstanding. And we kind of missed that, honestly.
Played a Schecter at $800. Was not impressed with sound at all.
Maybe try plugging it into a good amp with a good speaker. It's not the fucking guitar.
The greatest thing I've ever heard from an engineer about guitars in the studio was, there's no such thing as brand loyalty during recording sessions.
Oh, ain't that the fucking truth? All I give a shit about is, will the guitar stay in tune long enough for us to get a usable take? That's the only thing that matters in the studio. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you had an amazing and safe new year. Like I said, I've got to do a console install tomorrow, so I'm just trying to bang a few of these out. Keep your eyes peeled for what's coming up on the show. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. And once again, thanks again to everybody who hit the subscribe button. I truly appreciate it. And hopefully this year, we can get me to 1 million. Fingers crossed, anyway. I think I'm going to do some giveaways as well to just kind of prod that ever so slightly. What do you guys say? All right, anyway, you guys have a wonderful weekend. And as always, be excellent to one another. So that all comes, and okay, this all comes back to things. So where am I going to go with this? However, let's do that one more time. Oh no, let's not do it. Now you're cutting top of key.